our veterans are very important to us. The gentleman today, and you see him stand behind me, is a good friend of mine. And he's an Eisenhower grad, a 1987 grad. And so he walked the same hallways as you guys did. He played on the same football field that you guys did. He was on the same track as you guys were. And he was very involved in our school. And when he graduated from Eisenhower High School in 1987, he went and joined the Navy. And he probably didn't know it at the time when he joined, and I'll never go into those details, but he eventually was going to serve in Desert Storm, and he's a veteran. And so this weekend, you know, I definitely encourage you guys to reach out to your friends and family members and neighbors that you know are serving our country or have served our country, and give them a little appreciation and stuff for the work that they've done. Mr. Harris has reached out to us here and wanted to come in and speak to us because he wants to give back to our community, and he's a fantastic resource for us. And he's going to talk about his time at Eisenhower. He's going to talk about his time in the service. He's going to talk about his time after that. But most of all, he'll tell you, he wants to hear from you guys. Now, you guys aren't shy, all right? And most days I'm like, hey, you know, let's leave the chatter down a little bit. But I'm looking for you guys to ask him some questions here today, and he's going to want, I know he's going to want to answer everything. He wants to hear less from me, more from you. And so please, without any further ado, let's do a round of applause for Maurice Harris.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, that sucked. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, here we go. Guys, thanks for having me. As Mr. Duckhorn was telling me, I'm an Eisenhower grad back in '87. Some of y'all are thinking, you're old. Well, yeah, okay. Old beats dead. I'm okay with that. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was my experience. Not only just here in the military, but just in life, and how that kind of transitioned from one sector to the next. Who are the seniors here? All seniors. Okay. How many seniors know exactly what they're doing after graduation? How many don't? Okay. There's no shame in that. So I was lucky. Call it a blessing, call it luck, call it whatever you want to. I was at a crossroads. I thought I wanted to go right into college, but then it became more apparent that I was kind of sick of school. I did it well, I achieved a lot. I just didn't see myself doing 4 more years of school. It just didn't appeal to me. But I didn't want to waste the time after graduation. So while I was still in high school, this is that December before graduation, I enlisted. They had something called the delayed entry program, where you raise your right hand, you enlist, you're the property of the government, and then you finish school and you ship out. That's exactly what happened. I graduated in June. That August I was gone. I had one summer to say goodbye to everybody, to have all the fun I was going to have, and then I was out for basic training. And it just kind of progressed from there. But while I was here, I had some of the best teachers and faculty I could hope for. And a lot of the big reason why I'm here today is because the people who were in this school cared about their students. They did. That's how it was. That's how it is now. I can walk through the halls and see it. Same deal. And that's important. Maybe you may not see it now, but you will. Did you guys know Mr. Muir, Kim Muir? Nobody knew him? Okay. Also, he's an econ teacher. You knew Coach Muir. Coach Muir was a coach, a mentor, a friend. We're still friends. While I was away in the military, we used to always write back and forth. He and his wife, Sue. So we always stayed in touch, and he always made sure he knew what I was doing. And he didn't have to do that. Nobody, you can get extra money for keeping in touch with me. That's something we always did. And that's how you develop friendships and bonds and support systems. But I'm saying that to say this, that if anybody in the room is considering serving their country, I'd recommend you do it. Has anybody thought about it? Just, you haven't made up your mind, but have you thought about serving in the military? Okay. What's your name, sir? Richard. Richard? And? Corn. Corn? Mikhail. Anybody else? Okay, sir? Which branch? Which branch were you looking at going to? Marines. Marines, okay. Hope you like to run. Marines?
I already enlisted Marines.
Okay, good. Congratulations. Sir? Air Force. My father was in the Air Force. Air Force. Okay. So Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, everybody has their preference. I was being contacted by all the recruiters at the same time. The Marine guy, a little bit too aggressive. It was almost like talking to a car salesman. He wanted a commitment right then, right there. He bought me one lunch and expected me to sign my life away that same day. Didn't like that, so they were out. Air Force. I considered the Air Force because my dad was in the Air Force. Pretty much anything my dad did, I was going to do. That's the kind of father he was, that's the kind of leader he was. If it worked for him, it was probably going to work for me. So it was between the Navy and the Air Force. The Army recruiter was kind of, he was involved, but then kind of not. He would call and, hey, let's meet up next week. Okay, what time, what day? Saturday, 2 o'clock. Saturday would come and go, didn't hear from him, no follow-ups. He wasn't interested. My Navy recruiter, on the other hand, was all about it. Answered my questions, he was truthful, he didn't blow smoke. And I had some tough questions, and he had some tough answers, but he was truthful. Some of that stuff you just don't want to hear. But he told me because I was going to find out eventually. So that's how I went in. Graduated in June. That August I was out of there. Boot camp, everybody's heard horror stories about boot camp. Your boot camp, sir, would be worse than most. Because Marines are, they're cut from a different cloth. And that's not a negative thing. It's just they do things differently. But that's why they're Marines, so fully respect that. I had to train with Marines. My SEAL team unit and the Marine Corps did not get along at all. You'll hear all the jokes. If you talk to a Marine, you're in the Navy, ha, squid, anytime we had a war to fight, you gave us a right. Shut up, we've heard that a million times. What they don't tell you is that the Marines are a smaller version of the Navy. It's on their paychecks, and they hate that. But it's one of those military things that just, you hear it all the time, but it's part of the ride. So while I was in, finished boot camp, and I was assigned to a warship. That warship was the USS Bainbridge. That ship has since been decommissioned. The CGN, the number on it was 25. CGN just tells you it's a guided missile, nuclear powered cruiser. And because it was nuclear powered, we were at sea a lot. I mean a whole lot. For us to do a 6-month cruise was common. And before I go any further, I want you to internalize that for a minute. 6 months. 6 whole months on a ship at sea, nothing but men. Yeah, well, to the girls it might be. guys, not so much. And you have people who have never been away from home before, so there's that. You have people who are very young, not as responsible as they should be, not as hygienic as he should be. These are all the things you deal with. And you have people who are seasick, like me. 2 kinds of people in the Navy. People who get really sick once, and then they're fine, and you have others who get just a little sick every time they go out. I thought I was gonna die the first time I went out. I was green, and I puked, and had other things going on, but after that, I was fine. And they won't help you much, because they've been through this. They think it's funny to serve you bacon and eggs and grease, knowing it's gonna make you more sick. And because I was young, I didn't know. Harris, here, you need some burgers and bacon. Oh, thanks, man, appreciate it. Brah! Ah, we got Harris. Now you're a statistic. It's military tradition. It's one of those things. It's like hazing. You go through it, kind of like when you're seniors, right? You were freshmen. Certain stuff you had to do as freshmen, you just kind of have to do that. Athletes, you got to carry the equipment. You got to put everything back in together. You got to carry the hurdles. That's what freshmen do. Well, this is what new recruits do when they get to their first duty station. You're new. You don't know anything. And what's bad is you don't realize that you don't know anything. And there are a lot of people that are there to teach you, kind of like here, which is also a good thing. But what happened in Desert Storm? Desert Storm, does anybody know what Desert Storm was about? Why we had to go to war? Desert Storm was about oil. Kuwait was invaded by Iraq. They couldn't defend themselves. They had all the oil. We had to go protect them. We were just a police force at that point. We didn't. I can probably be fair and say I don't think anybody expected it to escalate into what it did, but we had to go there because we had to help protect the oil fields. That's why we were there, and we didn't count on that many casualties on either side. We just didn't. Nobody wanted that many people to die. It's just not a human thing to do. So that's why it happened. What did I see? I saw a lot of scared older and younger people who had no choice but to depend on their faith and depend on each other. So that was the ultimate in teamwork. It was the ultimate in faith and the ultimate in really staying positive because you had no idea what to expect. It was a very, very scary time. Sir?
Were y'all really like walking under oil clouds?
Yeah. Now, let me take that a step further. There's a lot of stuff you see in the movies, just keep in mind it is a movie. So they may, okay, here's the story of how they captured Osama, or what happened in Desert Storm, or what happened in World War II, or in Pearl Harbor. There's a lot of things that they put into movies simply to make them movies. But the most realistic one that I've seen was Jarhead.
Yeah.
Jarhead was very, very accurate in a lot of different ways. Ma'am?
Okay, it's about like today, like about people in the military today. Do you think most like people our age are scared to go into the military or Air Force based on what our president is doing?
I hope not. Is that a very real possibility? Yes. But I'll tell you the same thing I told the middle schoolers last year. I was asked or was invited to go to Whittier, which is actually my next stop when I leave here. I'm going to Whittier to talk to them again. But they have a veterans program every year, and the kids there, they're younger. They're way younger than you guys are, and so they don't have a filter. You know, you guys are learning. There are certain things you can say and can't say because you've been coached. You've been coached by your teacher. You've been coached by your parents, your families, your friends. You have certain things you just can't bring up. Well, kids haven't figured that out yet. So when you ask, hey, who has questions? They're going to let it rip. And this program was done the same week of the election. So I'm nervous. I never, ever get nervous before talking to people because I just love doing it so much. I'm telling my story. What do I have to be nervous about? I don't have to make anything up. I can tell you what happened. I can take questions. I can be honest. I was nervous about that because it's not the stuff that they've been hearing on TV every day or the radio that concerns me. It's what they've been hearing in their own homes from their parents behind closed doors that I have to address. And I don't want to do that because I don't want anybody thinking I'm disparaging their parents or with their views, their values. It's not about that. So I got through the whole program. It's an hour and a half, great QA session. Everybody's asking questions. Finally, this one kid stood up. He's got a notepad in his hand. I thought, okay, so I called on him. Mr. Harris, you said that it's important to always keep a positive mindset. Yes, I did. You also said it's important to adapt to change the best way you know how. Yes. And you said it's important to respect the law. Yes, I did. Now, I didn't know where he was going with this, but you kind of feel a wrecking ball coming. Okay, so having said that, how can we stay positive with this new president? That's when all the lights came on and all these camera flashes started going off. I'm thinking, oh, this can't be good. So now I've got to answer his question. And as a veteran, what I will not do is disparage the president. I can't do that. I don't believe in that. I believe in the chain of command. That'll make sense later on in life. How many people in the room, by show of hands, know of someone that you respect but you don't like very much? Okay, so you guys understand what I'm saying, right? You have a relative that you respect and even love, just not crazy about. We've all been there, right? So the way I responded to him was, here is my mind. I can't tell you guys what to do. My mindset is simply this. People ask all the time. On my Facebook, I'm not political on my Facebook. My Facebook is positive. This is my story. Here's what I do. I was at a ball game a couple days ago. I'm at a cigar lounge now. I'm relaxing. I'm having fun. I don't get political on Facebook because you can't hope to change anybody's mind online. You can't do it. It's just not possible. That's not my method. Well, how do you get involved? I get involved by doing this. I spend time with people who care to hear my story. People who have questions for me. High schoolers, middle schoolers, the elderly. I do volunteer work. I feed the homeless. I volunteer with the police department. I make a difference with my time. That's just me. I believe in that. So what I told him is that the president doesn't live in Chicago. He lives in D.C. Well, does he live in D.C.? Well, the White House in D.C. He's somewhere else, but they're there. This is your community. You live here. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to depend on someone in Washington, D.C. or anywhere outside of Chicago to help you in your own community. If it's your community, you should get involved. You should spend some time with people. You should pick up the phone. You should go online and figure out what you can do to make a difference to somebody in your own way. Now that could be with feeding people. That could be with art. That could be with lecturing. There's a lot of people have different gifts in this room. Who are the artists here? What do you do? Paint, photography, what?
Design stuff.
Okay. Sir?
Draw.
I didn't hear you.
Draw.
You draw? Beautiful. What else? Photography, that's me. Okay, so you can contribute that way. Others love to. You too?
Yeah, photography.
Nice. And being a Marine, you'll have a chance to take some great photos because you'll be all over the world.
Well, I'm not
Kudos to you. And now, the funny thing about that is now everybody has their phones. They take photos. Get a camera, please. Just do that. You will not regret it. Trust me. So I told the kid, it's important that you make a difference your own way based on what's important to you. Has anybody in the room seen something on Facebook that somebody was really amped up about, and they were really excited about it, and you read it and thought, yeah, whatever. You scroll past it? Have we done that?
Every day.
We do it every day, right? Because their cause is not going to be our cause every time. It's just not. I see it all the time. And you can't get excited about every single thing that's trending. It's only trending because people are talking about it, not because it matters. But the things that are important to you, you have to get involved with. I believe in giving back to my community. That's why I'm here. I should be at work right now, getting screamed at by customers who want me to reverse their bank fees. But I'm here because I believe in giving back to people. It's just important to me. It's important to a lot of people. So when I was your age, I had people come here. We had guest speakers all the time. They came and helped us in the field, they helped us in the classroom, and I always got a lot out of that. So I said, anytime I get in a position to help somebody else, I'm going to do it. That's my standpoint. So the way I explained it to him is you have to get involved in your community. And pretty soon, because it's important to you, somebody else is going to hear what you have to say. They're going to help you out. And before you know it, you're going to have a couple handfuls of folks who are in a position to really make some change. And you can say, you did that, because that's what you believed in. That to me is way more important than going on Facebook and, oh, 45. Yeah, okay, if that's your thing, okay. But if you really want to make an impact, you have to put in the work. I think that's really what it's all about. And you can't get wrapped up in who's in office. Because the problems that we've had in this country, and the beauty of this country has been there long before this election. So if that's what you think about, that's what you're going to focus on, that's all you're going to be consumed with. But if you take a look at the good things that are happening here in the school, in your neighborhoods, with your families, with your friends, you become consumed by that, and that's what you choose to focus on, and that's what you need, because that's what's going to carry us even further. I came out of it okay. I have my days, which I don't know if that's stress from work or if that's from the war, but most of the energy that I brought back from the war, I used to help other veterans who are really struggling with that. So I go to the VA hospital and I'll sit and talk with the guys, and you know, now they have animals. They'll give you dogs that'll sense when you get really agitated, and dogs help calm you down. And that's proven to be more effective than a lot of the medications. So what I had to go through, I came out of it okay, but a lot of people didn't. So it's therapeutic for me to work and help them out. Very good question. Sir?
Okay, so my dad told me something different because he was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, did y'all come home like most of the times, like not at nights and stuff?
Not at night?
Yeah, like.
You mean when the battle group came in?
Yeah.
That's, every captain is different. We came in, our captain he was a senior captain in the whole battle group. So we were given a choice. And he basically, he told the whole crew, you guys decide. We can either go home right now, we'll be home at 2, 3 in the morning. The battle group won't be in until about 11 o'clock in the morning. So we're gonna miss the homecoming, but who wants to go home now? Every hand went up. So we got there, the people who lived off base got in their cars and drove home. We woke up in our own beds. When the battle group pulled in, you had an aircraft carrier, you have 5 or 6 smaller ships. It was a big battle group. So my next door neighbor, it took him 3.5 hours to make a 30-minute trip. That's how much traffic there was. So when you come back from a cruise, normally it's just one ship. But because it came back from a war, there was a battle group and everybody pulled in at exactly the same time. We were already home, we got lucky. Some of the guys were kind of disappointed. They wanted to go through the homecoming and the water cannons and the flags being waved and the band. We didn't care. To get me home. And that's what worked for us. Interesting question. Ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry, I always got a lot of questions.
That's okay, it's no problem.
I was trying to go back into when your daddy was in the Air Force.
He was,
like,
yeah.
Did he ever explain to you like how it was in that era of time? Like was it really, really hard for him? Like,
Yeah. It's unimaginable. It's the things he went through. Who knows who Jackie Robinson is? And he, obviously, he's the first black man to go to the pros. But just to show, anybody see the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a sort of a glimpse of what he went through. Now that movie wasn't rated R because they wanted everybody to see it. They wanted to really appeal to a broad audience. They wanted children to see it. So you had to cut way, way back on the profanity and all that. But in real life, there was no holding back. He went through more than I care to imagine. Here's why that was even more difficult for him, because he went through that before the the civil rights movement. Before Dr. King, before Malcolm X, they were not heard of. He was walking alone. This is one man that had to have the fortitude to not fight back in the midst of unspeakable acts of hatred that people just deemed as normal. So that took a lot of strength. That's why he died so early.
I
You
know.
saw pictures of him speaking at games. He had a head full of gray hair way before he should have had it. That amount of stress will kill you, and it killed him. But he made a sacrifice for everybody here. People of color, women, children, everybody, not just black people either. He opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people that we cannot take advantage of, and we should. Good question. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Mr. Marine?
How was your experience at boot camp?
Boot camp is a joke. It's physically, okay, yeah, you're gonna sweat, you're gonna be sore, and you're gonna, boot camp, here's the secret to boot camp. Do exactly what they tell you to do, no more, no less. There are different areas where you know you can do a little bit more to show leadership. Otherwise, just do what they tell you. You think they care about how you fold your underwear? No! They wanna see if you can follow instructions. Do they care about telling a grown man how to make his bed? No! They need to know that you can follow instructions, so when it's time to rewire a bomb, they know that you're not gonna kill yourself. That's all that is. When you go to boot camp, do exactly what they tell you. Exactly. And be in shape, because you will be running. Marines are not getting by on technical skills. Believe me when I say that. Great question. I saw another hand. Who was it? Okay, I thought I saw another hand. Am I hallucinating?